Welcome to 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews, where we take random movies from Metacritic's 15K Plus movies to randomly watch, whether we like it or not. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews. This week, number 5034 came out of the random bag. It was 2002's Changing Lanes. A couple of facts about it. 45 million budget, 95 million earnings, 69 Metascore and an 8.5 user score on Metacritic. Couple of awards happened for, well, not awards, but nominations. NAACP, Black Reel, Prism all went to nominations for Samuel L. Jackson. And then obviously, typically, predictably, Teen Choice Award for Ben Affleck for his acting prowess in this.
It's about the best qualification he could hope for, I think, in acting.
Yeah, in this movie. Directed by Roger Mitchell, who, I didn't know this because I don't like this next movie. He directed Notting Hill and he directed Hyde Park on Hudson. Now here's another thing. Did you catch on to this one? The producer, Scott Rudin, produced. If you look at his biography, he produced
loads of stuff.
Dozens.
Yeah.
Just a connection to Ireland. He produced Angela's Ashes.
I missed that piece. That's kind of
Something.
It is something.
It's something.
I haven't actually seen Angela's Ashes because I heard it's quite depressing.
Yeah.
But yeah, another Irish connection. So we had the Kisses last week as well.
Yeah. A chap called Chap Taylor wrote the story. He's best known for writing the Blacklist TV show, which I've heard of before, but I haven't got into. But it's been running for a long time. So, you know, there's people on the back end of it here that, you know, they've got some history.
There's reasonably heavy hitters.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not so much the director. He's a bit loose on his backstory. There's not a lot of other movies in there. But the other guys, absolutely. There's some chops in there.
There is some chops. So Changing Lanes, you know, on first glance you think it's, you know, some sort of driver's ed instructional video, but it's not that. So the first, obviously, we review every movie on plot, acting, sound, brackets, track, and production. You did the plot synopsis last week for Kisses, which you did admirably well, and now I have to figure out describing the plot for this.
You have to find the plot.
I have to find it. So I'm going to try my best here. So Samuel L. Jackson is a guy trying his best to get his family in tow. His wife's leaving him, going to go across the country to Oregon, of all places, home of the Yum Bowl, which I've had, and it's very, very yummy. He's trying to get a house. He's in the middle of, his bank has said, yep, you can get it, dude, you're fine. And you've got, on the other end of the spectrum, Ben Affleck, who is very, very unlikable, both as an actor and the character in this movie. And he's going... So here's my problem with this. You don't know what he's doing. It's not described well. He's going to a courtroom. Samuel L. Jackson's coming away from the bank going, this is great. They get into a bit of a Barney on the freeway, as you call it in America.
A coming together.
Coming together. They changed lanes.
Yeah, at the same time.
Samuel L. Jackson crashes into the median, I think is the technical term. And Ben Affleck is coming across like, yeah, listen, here's a blank check. Have some of it. I don't care. So he's coming across like he just wants to get out of here, but he's actually quite happy to give him money to whatever. And Samuel L. Jackson, he just came from the bank and he's going, no, I want to do everything by the book. Which is fine.
Which is probably what you should do.
And
as a lawyer, maybe Benny Affleck should have been following the same procedures.
Maybe. So Benny Affleck drops the most important paper on the floor and Samuel L. Jackson picks it up. Benny Affleck goes away, says, listen, what did he say? Best of luck next time or something? Or
better luck next time.
Better luck next time. So Sam Jackson's going, You.
F-U-M-F-er.
Yeah, if that's allowed. And that folder is key to the entire plot of the movie.
Orange envelope of documents.
Yeah. So he's going to this court thing, and I really don't want to spend a lot of time here, but it's the crux of the entire thing. He's going to a court ruling. I still really don't know what's going on. He's going in there. There's a woman there that we don't see ever again. She is the daughter of some old guy that Ben Affleck coerced into signing away his estate to the lawyer's firm.
It was more than an estate. It was a fund, a trust.
A trust.
For several charity organisations. And the daughter of the now recently deceased friend of Benny Affleck, who he kind of ripped off, is miffed because she's realised something. I don't know if we should talk about it now, but it becomes apparent to Benny Affleck later on that his firm ain't on the up and up.
Right. So then he's like going, I've got proof that we didn't do him bad. Here's something. Here's the cream of here's the icing on the cake. Oh, Judge, I don't have it. Yeah. I got into a fight.
And the icing is a signed document from the now deceased previous owner of the trust fund.
Yeah. And so Sam Jackson has that. So basically, he goes back, he lies to his father-in-law, who's his partner, Sidney Pollack, famed director, and roped into this movie for some reason. I don't know why. He's like going, yeah, sorted it, don't worry about it, it's all good. And then he goes to Tony Collette and goes, listen, I'm in trouble here. I lost the folder and I've got until the end of the day to get it back. And from then on, it's like, okay, it should kick into high gear here. It should be a tit-for-tat rat and mice or cat and a mouse tale. And it's not. It's pretty much just they go back and forth. They do a couple of things to each other. I don't want to get into too much detail about the plot, but it should be more aggressive. It's not. They go back and forth. He basically goes to Tony Collette goes, listen, I've got a dude who can fix this thing up, and he'll come back squealing to you. Make him back. So he goes to this dude, and this guy goes, yeah, I can make him bankrupt. Do Control Alt Delete and hack his bank account. He's now bankrupt. Now he's going to call you, and you'll be fine. And then it goes from there, basically. And it's like,
well, one thing I found weird about the whole Tony Collette thing, actually, sorry to interject.
No, I'm not going anywhere with it.
Okay, what I found weird is like she's almost set up as a moral compass to his character, but then she comes up with, by the way, I have this guy who can fix people, which I found kind of weird because even after she comes up with this idea, she's still put forward as this moral compass type character, but that's not a very moral thing to say.
No, and he's also had an affair with her.
Yeah, that's also not awesome. But it's still, affairs I suppose happen, but getting a guy to F somebody's life over for a few quid is not a very moral approach either. So in this scenario, like, I love Toni Collette as an actress, but her role in this is kind of weak, I found.
I think a lot of roles in this are weak. It's a very muddy plot. I think the trust and the old guy that he'd done over aren't explained well enough.
Well, I guess that is
the argument between the cat and mouse game between Ben Affleck and Samuel L. Jackson isn't well done. It's not. There isn't enough meat to the bone of it. There's a lot of back and forth. It's like, okay, make him bankrupt. Okay, then I'm gonna loosen your wheel in your car. Okay, now I'm going to call your school and say your kids are injured so that you can run in there and get arrested. Okay, so what next? What else? Am I missing any other issue there that they went back and forth with? It was like teenage pranks on each other. Apart from, obviously, the wheel falling off his chair.
One important piece I throw in there is Sam Jackson's... what I think is actually portrayed reasonably well, in my eyes, you may disagree, is Sam Jackson's problem with alcohol and his AA meetings, and this is pushing him over the edge. He's sitting in a bar, and he's an interesting scene where he's he bumps into two advertising executives and they're blah 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 Tiger Woods, and he takes objection to what they're saying, comes up with a different ad that they're proposing because he finds it racially insensitive, if you will, and the barman asks him to leave because he's getting a bit aggro. And he is.
Yeah.
So he leaves. He's over chatting to his wife, and two lads come out, and he beats the crap out of them, which I thought was actually quite good.
It was a good scene, but he beats the crap out of them with a telephone receiver from a public payphone.
He did.
And, he should have said something like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, it's for you. Sorry, it's engaged. Yeah,
that would have been perfect, but that didn't happen, unfortunately.
But I hope listeners to our podcast can understand that's the entire plot. It's back and forth. He's trying to get the papers. He's trying to get his life back. At the end of the day, stuff happens, and then they meet in his office, and it's like, all right, mate, sorry about that. Sorry, man. Spoilers, obviously, for this ending, but it ends off with
not much of a spoiler.
Samuel L. Jackson appears in his thing and throws the folder at him, going, "There you go." And Ben Affleck goes, "Oh,
thanks for that."
Sorry, sorry." And then Sam Jackson goes, "Yeah, me too."
But it doesn't end there.
No, it goes on for another 15 minutes. It drags on
with a scene I found difficult, which was the family meal after that. So he's with he's at Sidney Pollack, his wife, who's the daughter of Sidney Pollack, and the doddering mother.
Yeah, what's wrong with her? We don't know. She's got Alzheimer's.
Clearly not anyway clued into what the hell's going on. But he throws the document that Sam gave back and says, "Well, yeah, you're a jerk, and I'm not going to do anything you tell me to do. By the way, you have to give the money back to the chap you just nicked it off, and I'm hungry."
Yeah, well, I'm starving. What's on the menu?
It felt a bit contrived, a bit weak.
Talking about Amanda Peet, who plays the wife, she pops up in the middle of the movie going, "I don't care what you're doing, come and meet me for lunch." So he goes there, and she basically goes into this 5-minute spiel about the background of their marriage, how he knows he cheated on her, and how bad her family is, but you gotta cover for this thing because this trust with the old guy, her dad and the partner, the bosses of Ben Affleck, have been taking money, $3 million or something.
Yeah.
But it's like, there is no chemistry between them. She is basically talking to the audience saying, "Yeah, we don't explain this well enough at the start of the movie. Let me just explain this in a 5-minute diatribe, soliloquy thing."
It's a piece of exposition that doesn't fit. Now, it's needed.
Yes.
But it doesn't work.
I had no clue who this guy was. And the granddaughter of the old guy never came back either. William Hurt is in the movie, let's put it out there. He shows up for a couple of scenes because he's Samuel L. Jackson's sponsor in AA. And you're like going, come on, you need to, it's William Hurt.
Do something amazing. He did come out with a line I loved.
Yeah, say that.
And I think I wrote it down. I hope I wrote it down. Oh, I did. Yes, he gives out to Sam Jackson because Sam Jackson at this point has just said to him, "By the way, things have gone out of hand today. I nearly had a drink. Also, I nearly killed a man." And he has a bit of a wobble at this, and he's basically saying, "Listen, there's some contracts in life, and one of them, unwritten, is that, you should an unwritten agreement in all people is not to go batshit. You don't go mental."
Yeah.
And
then he walks away.
Yeah, which I thought was fantastic, and he delivers it perfectly. He's great.
It's William Hurt.
And he's again like Tony Collette, a much underutilized actor.
It's a hell of a cast.
It's a huge cast.
Sidney Pollack, director, is the boss. There's other people. There's William Hurt, Tony Collette. There's other people that you know. But
here's a cast member you probably haven't. I wrote this down. It's a nice little tidbit.
What are you talking about writing it down? We memorized this.
Obviously, sorry. Yes, clearly. But there was 2 interviewees come in to see.
Oh yes,
Ben.
yes.
The second one, the bloke,
stayed there all movie.
Yeah, stayed there till the end. So he's there 10 hours, like in Egypt. But Ben comes back in. He's like, "Oh, what the hell are you still doing here?"
Another stupid part of the plot. Sorry,
I don't really want to go into the plot behind it because it was daft. But I don't know if you watched Big Bang Theory.
Hate it.
Good. He plays Stuart in that. an actor by the name of Kevin Sussman. I just threw it in there because I was watching it going.
A major actor in the cast or bit part player.
He starts off as a bit part in Big Bang, but he's a huge part at the end of it. So it was like watching it going, oh yeah, I know that guy because
That's interesting.
I've seen this movie
that's what's
20 years ago.
That's what's interesting about these early 2000s, late 90 movies. You see people that you kind of pick up on.
Yeah.
One thing before we move on from plot and before I rate it as low as I want to, I think the sprinkler part of the movie was terrible. It was so Ben Affleck finds out.
Yeah,
he finds out. He gets inkling.
I'd already forgot about it.
Yeah, he gets an inkling that there's documents in his dad-in-law's office, the partner of the movie, that will basically display that they're shafting this old guy's trust. So he goes into the kitchen. He lights a piece of paper and puts it onto the sprinkler in the kitchen only. Now, when he does that, it doesn't just activate in the kitchen. It activates over the entire cubicled office with computers and all, into the offices with computers and everything. So then, whenever he runs out, he walks in and picks out a folder and goes, yoinks, and then he meets Tony Collette going, they took $3 million. I hated it. It was terrible. I'm giving 1.5 out of 5 for plot. What are you giving for plot?
See, I was different. I went with 2.5 because I found some of it interesting.
Really?
Now, granted, I found just to point out things like your sprinkler thing. The guy who hacks Samuel Jackson's bank account and our bankruptcy status. Yeah. That's just stupid.
It was a bit stupid.
You can't just go, now it's gone.
Yeah.
That's not how computers work. No. That's just
back in 2002 voodoo. Though, we were like going, we didn't really know, and people were going,
yeah. It was a
you can do this, it's computers.
Yeah.
Pentium 3 can do this.
Yeah, there you go, and it's gone. Yeah. No, that's not how stuff works. That's so silly. But my take on 2.5 is what I put down for plot. Maybe not as hated as much as yours. But
I don't like the plot. It was muddy. It was unclear at times, and bringing characters in just to tell the story as we went along because they knew we needed that help was a bit of a crutch for me. So acting, let's move on to acting. Listen, I'm not a big fan of Ben Affleck. Samuel L. Jackson, I could listen to and watch recite the Bible, and I'd be fine with it. Ben Affleck is wooden. I don't like. One of the most funniest moments in this is when his car spins out, when his lugs are taken off. I think that's the technical term, lug from the tire. He's spinning out, and it's him trying to react as he stays in a stationary car and the camera pans around, and he just has this comical horror face on that doesn't. It's just funny. It's hilarious.
It looks like he's gone to the toilet.
And it's very a bad experience. Yeah. And so, you've got Samuel L. Jackson, likable. He's down on his luck guy. He goes into the judge at the start, and he's just pleading with him. Listen, this is not my fault. I was in an accident with a dude. Ben Affleck is the opposite. He's terrible. William Hurt, we don't get to see enough of him, obviously.
For the 15 seconds he's in, he's fantastic.
He's great.
He's bang on.
Tony Collette, she's a great actress, but I don't see enough of her in this to actually rate it at all.
To be honest, she comes off, if this was the only movie you'd seen her in, you'd probably think she's a terrible actress. But it's just the role she's given isn't great. Yeah. It's not that believable.
Like the two partners, like Sidney Pollack is a director, but he pops up as an actor in a couple of movies, and actually, I don't know. I thought he was a bit weird as an actor in this one. I think he delivered his lines a bit too overacted. I don't think he obviously gives a hoot what how he's perceived as an actor because he's more well known for a director. And there's a lot of faces. The bank teller, which I looked up. I thought I knew him a lot more than I did, but I looked him up last night, and he's appeared in dozens of things. But
I didn't even recognize
he's got a face. He's got a face that...
Now, the guy that they hired to...
The PI. Who is he?
I seen him in a few other shows. I seen him in a TV show called The Good Wife.
He was good.
He was a monster in The Good. I think he was a serial killer, or definitely a killer. And he was paying off lawyers to get away with murder in that show. And he was a monster, and he was fantastic in that. And I thought he was good in this as well.
I thought he was good, yeah.
But again, he's not in it very long. He's not going to bring the score.
He's like, oh, sorry, I couldn't make him non-bankrupt in the time you told me to. So like everybody else, like there's an ensemble cast there of good acting. Like obviously the 45 million budget went mostly on paying the actors.
Yeah,
I would say.
At the time, Ben was a rising star, so I'd say he took a lion's share of that money. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Who knows what he got paid? I gave it 2 out of 5 for acting.
See, I gave it 3, but that's because I love Sam Jackson.
Sam Jackson can't do any wrong with you.
Nope, he could punch me in the face and I'd
But to be honest with you, I don't think he swore once in the movie.
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, it would have been 4 if
he didn't. He didn't MF once.
Yeah, sound brackets track like there's nothing there. So at the start of the movie, it's like this sped up going through traffic scene as a bit of a techno intro, and sometimes through the movie, I got this like Social Network vibe from the music, but a bad version of Social, like Trent Reznor, Nine Inch Nails, like but terrible, like early 2000s bad vibes. But nothing else. I couldn't think of anything else.
To be honest, like I was trying to think of sound as I was watching the movie.
Yeah,
there was never enough for me to register. It was just it didn't do anything to the movie.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, the sound was kind of cack.
Yeah, and like the only thing, like at the end, Annie Lennox pops up with "Waiting in Vain" is the name of the song, and it's like the first time I was like, oh, okay, I know, but there is no. It's weird because okay, you've done techno, weird, futuristic, sort of drama thriller song that bites throughout the movie. Now you're finishing with Annie Lennox.
Yeah, it fits perfectly.
Yeah, what's your thinking?
Well, speaking of facts that fit perfectly, I'm just going to say that this year that Eurythmics. Oh, actually, that's not true. Last year, Eurythmics re-released some of their albums on blue vinyl with UNICEF for charity. Oh. Same as Bob Dylan. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Huh. Interesting. The other interesting thing is that Ben Affleck. This was the year 2002, the same as Stranger Lanes. He came out in The Sum of All Fears. Right?
Indeed.
And the soundtrack in that has Bob Dylan's Times They Are Changing.
Huh.
Yeah. So I give the soundtrack 1 out of 5.
And that's bang on what I give it.
Yeah, there's nothing
there. Nondescript. Didn't really hamper anything because I never noticed it.
No. And, we were talking earlier about we're setting the exemplar here as Tarantino with Pulp Fiction or Kill Bill or any of those type of movies. So you're not getting anywhere close to that if you don't have appropriate songs for appropriate times in your movie. Production, the last one. There was weird parts of production choice, like camera angles. Did you pick up on the times when they just focused on Ben Affleck's hair?
Specifically when he was crashing, actually.
Yeah, that was terrible.
It seemed to focus on his head while the car was spinning.
Yeah.
And
his facial expression.
It didn't feel like the car was crashing because of that.
Right.
It was just it felt unnatural.
That was his lug moment thing, but the crash at the start of the movie was badly done as well. I thought
pretty much the same.
It was just like vague, and we don't know what's going on there. But there was parts of the time, and I can't remember when this was, but it just zoomed in on Ben Affleck's head, and then it zoomed out of it.
It's probably because they spent so much to get Ben Affleck in the movie.
It was like, we need to film
maximize as much Ben Affleck as possible.
There's just I don't know what the production choice was behind that. It was just weird. One of the things I did like, and this is one of the only things I did like, when Samuel L. Jackson was coming out of the courtroom at the start when he was late, and the judge was like going, "Yeah, get out of here, you're done." He came out and he's just basically maneuvering his way through the flotsam and jetsam of people in terrible parts of their life. There's a POV shot of just looking around, the people just waiting to get into court, and then the camera cuts to his face, and it's just him going through being Samuel L. Jackson. Like that stood out to me. Another production choice that I kind of liked, when he was at the bar doing the Tiger Woods story.
Yeah.
That was when it interspersed with the private investigator typing on a keyboard, making him bankrupt. So when he was telling the story about Tiger Woods, trying to make these guys feel uncomfortable about the racism that they are spewing out, he was getting shafted by the PI. So he was talking, then it would cut back to the keyboard thing. Kind of cliche, but I was like, okay, that's okay. That cut it up a bit.
That absolutely worked.
Yeah, that worked.
It absolutely worked. I can't dispute that. Aside from that, I think the production was mostly nondescript. It was adequate. Workmanlike at times. But yeah, I have no real issue with production, but I have no real nice things to say.
Yeah.
Like it was obvious that there was a budget.
45 million.
Yeah.
They could have done better with the car crashes, though. They could have, when he lost the lugs of the wheel, he could have flipped over, not just spun.
Well, we don't want to go full Michael Bay on it, though.
Do it, 45 million.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were happy because they pretty much doubled their budget. They doubled their earnings with that. Any unintentional funny moments in the movie, apart from Ben Affleck's face when he was spinning out of control?
I can't think of any.
No, I think it's Ben Affleck's face. Oh, the phone attack.
Oh, sorry. Yes, of course.
Phone
I found that
unintentionally. I don't think it was meant to be funny, but it was, and it wasn't filmed funny either. It was filmed quite seriously.
Similar to you, in my head, when he was hitting him with the receiver of the phone, he was saying, "It's for you."
Yeah.
And that I found hilarious. Not because it was in the movie, because it was in my head.
In your head. He wasn't saying anything. He was just beating them. And the funny thing is that he went to the first thing and it didn't work. And he went to the second one and it worked. And then these guys slowly came over and he was like, it's ramping up on the other end of the call to his ex-wife.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you want some of this? Oof. And like, unintentionally funny. And so, last bit before we choose next movie. Top of the Pop review, Top of the Flops review. So the Chicago Sun-Times, Roger Ebert himself, gave it 100 out of 100, saying this is one of the best movies of the year.
100 out of 100.
100 out of 100. Roger Ebert.
Oh, I respected.
One of the respected. Yeah.
Wow.
But here's Top of the Flops though. The Daily News gave it 38 out of 100. Jack Matthews wrote for them, but his review doesn't make his summarization doesn't make any sense. Gets too caught up in its escalating violence and strained to bursting moral subtexts. It's the blood of souls drenching the screen, and it's a hideous sight to behold.
That's gibberish.
Jack Matthews needs to get a life and move to poetry or something.
What violence?
There is no violence.
Other than
there's no blood either.
Other than It's For You, there was very little.
There's no blood.
No, I get what...
There's no blood of souls drenching the screen.
I can almost see what he's saying about the moral stuff with the lawyer and, you know. There was a line, actually, what was it, that the boss man said about he does more good than bad, so that justifies being a naughty boy. But that's about it.
Yeah.
So I don't get that review. It's not nearly as bad as he says, and it's definitely not nearly as good as Ebert says.
No, and I was looking for reviews in the middle, and they were a bit more, but I'm going by the top, and I'm going by the flop. Okay, so now we will randomize our number for this next week's episode, and we will see how it goes. So here we go.
Come on, Halloween.
14,537.
Oh, we're going low.
We're going low.
Sounds like Halloween to me.
Alright, so that's going to be one.
Or Sharknado. Come on, Sharknado.
Sharknado. 2.
The best one.
Alright, 14537. Oh, this is going to be dodgy.
Jesus. That's right down there.
Alright, it's a 1985 movie. Yeah. It's got 31 out of 100.
It's pretty good.
It's called Stick. And it's rated R.
R. For pirates.
So very
good. Stick.
Burt Reynolds directs it.
Oh, God.
The summary: released from prison, Stick meets up with a friend. The name of the guy is Stick, and that's the title of the movie. Stick meets up with a friend and joins him on a job delivering a bag. His friend gets killed in the setup. Stick gets away and is ready to forget all and see his daughter, but they won't forget. Who's they? Who's Stick? Burt Reynolds, Alex Rocco, Candice Bergen, and nobody else that I know. George Segal. That rings a bell. Anyway, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah.
No, good. This is fantastic. It's right down the bottom. We'll have something to talk about.
Yes. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening to this episode of 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews. We will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Ciao.